Okay. This is an old settlement site. You know, even though this is public land, at one time it was privately owned. And what happened was this particular whatever family moved out. They couldn't make it. You know, farming is very difficult, especially in New England. And so what ended up happening is, you know, over the past 100+ years, the state would buy up pieces of property and create state forests and state parks for all people to enjoy. That's one of the beauties. Anybody can come here if they want to. And I think what happened here was, well, I know what happened here. Somebody has a kind of like their own little campsite, you know, it's kind of like their own little party spot. But, you know, like I said, this area has been settled by people for centuries. First, the Native Americans, you know, at least 14,000 years ago. And then later on, when Europeans arrived in the 1600s. In the 1700s, French Protestants came into this area. They were called Huguenots. You know, at the time, during the Protestant Reformation, it was sweeping across Europe. I don't want to turn it into too much of a history lesson, but, you know, France has always been predominantly Roman Catholic. And for a long time, that was the official state religion. So if you were anything but Catholic, well, it was kind of like a bad day. And I hate seeing this. Somebody stripped the bark off of, because you can see it's done with a knife or an axe. Somebody peeled all the bark off of this tree, and now it's going to die. It's a nice maple tree. Somebody's very inconsiderate and ignorant. Why they would do that, I don't know. Needless to say, you know, the world is full of ignorant people. Anyways, this cellar hole, from what I've been told, is the site of an old Huguenot settlement. And it's indicative of that because this here would probably be one of the entrances to the cabin or house. And then over here, you can see in the center, there's like a big pedestal of stone. Well, that's where the fireplace was. The fireplace was actually built in the middle of the home. And an entire family would live in this particular home. And at one time, this whole hilltop was cleared for crops and raising, you know, a small head of cattle, whatever. It's all woods now, but if we could go back in time 200 years, this would have been somebody's farm. So again, they're pretty smart. They built their fireplace in the middle of the dwelling so that the heat would radiate outwards. You know? So let's continue on, okay? Again, using our map, I know that this path is curling, it's moving in another direction. I'm at like a little bit of a jog here, okay? Let's take a look at that. Yeah, it's right about there. Let's go over to this log, and I want to point it out, okay? So, how do we know where we're at? Where my thumbnail is a sharp turn. What do we see here? A sharp turn. Okay. So, pressing onwards.